The enemy believed the ocean itself would protect them, until one American commander proved the sea could be invaded. World War II is usually remembered through beaches, tanks, and air battles, but some of the most dangerous and decisive victories happened in silence, far below the surface. In the Pacific, where Japan relied on vast oceans to shield its supply lines, submarines became America's unseen executioners. Among all of them, one man stood apart, not because he followed the rules, but because he rewrote them. His name was Eugene Bennett Fluckey, commander of the USS Barb, and his story is not just about sinking ships. It is about how bold thinking and absolute trust in men can change the course of a war. Eugene Fluckey was not born into legend. He was a quiet, disciplined Naval Academy graduate who believed preparation mattered more than bravado. But war has a way of revealing who you truly are when the pressure becomes unbearable. By 1944, the Pacific submarine campaign had turned brutal. Japanese shipping was still moving troops, fuel, and ammunition across thousands of miles of ocean, keeping their war machine alive. Most American submarine captains followed predictable patrol routes, careful tactics, and strict engagement rules. Fluckey believed those habits were becoming weaknesses. He understood that the enemy expected submarines to behave a certain way, and that expectation could be weaponized. When Fluckey took command of the USS Barb, he inherited a crew hardened by danger but hungry for leadership that trusted them. From the beginning, he made one thing clear: this submarine would not fight safe. It would fight smart. He pushed his crew relentlessly in training, drilling emergency maneuvers until reactions became instinct. Not because he enjoyed pressure, but because he knew fear underwater could kill faster than enemy weapons. The Pacific was unforgiving. One mistake at depth could mean crushing implosion, silent suffocation, or never being found at all. What made Fluckey different wasn't recklessness, it was imagination. He studied Japanese shipping routes like a chessboard, looking not just at where ships traveled, but why they traveled there. He noticed patterns others ignored. He realized that Japanese commanders had grown comfortable, assuming shallow coastal waters were safe from American submarines. Conventional wisdom said submarines couldn't operate there. Fluckey decided to test that assumption. The first time he took Barb into dangerously shallow enemy waters, the crew knew they were doing something unheard of. Depth gauges crept toward disaster. Sonar pings echoed off the seabed. One wrong calculation and the submarine would slam into the ocean floor helpless. But Fluckey trusted his navigation and his men. That night, Barb surfaced inside a Japanese harbor, something no American submarine had ever done. They fired torpedoes at point-blank range, destroying ships anchored in what the enemy believed was a safe zone. By the time Japanese defenses reacted, the submarine was already gone, leaving confusion, fire, and panic behind. As patrols continued, Barb became a nightmare the Japanese could not predict. Fluckey attacked convoys head-on, from angles textbooks said were suicidal. He maneuvered through minefields others avoided entirely. When torpedoes ran out, he used the deck gun at close range, sometimes surfacing in daylight, daring the enemy to respond. Each success fed into a deeper truth. The enemy was no longer fighting a submarine. They were fighting uncertainty. But Fluckey's boldest decision did not involve torpedoes at all. In 1945, intelligence revealed that a Japanese railway line along the coast was being used to transport troops and supplies. No American ground forces were anywhere near it. No bombers could strike it accurately. Most commanders dismissed it as unreachable. Fluckey saw opportunity. He proposed something that sounded impossible: landing sailors on enemy soil from a submarine to sabotage the railway. This was not a mission submarines were built for. It had never been done. There was no rescue if things went wrong. The volunteers knew that, and they stepped forward anyway. Under cover of darkness, Barb surfaced near the Japanese coast. 8 sailors climbed into a rubber boat carrying explosives, knowing they were stepping onto enemy land with no support, no uniforms, and no backup. They planted demolition charges beneath the tracks and withdrew just before a train approached. When the explosion tore through the rails, the train derailed violently, killing and injuring enemy forces and cutting a critical supply line. It was the only ground combat operation ever conducted on the Japanese home islands by U.S. forces during World War II. Fluckey didn't celebrate loudly. He logged the mission and prepared for the next threat. That was his nature, but the impact was enormous. Japanese command now faced a terrifying realization. American submarines were not just attacking from the sea, they could strike land itself. The psychological damage was as powerful as the physical destruction. By the end of the war, USS Barb had destroyed more Japanese ships than any other American submarine. Fluckey AS leadership turned a single vessel into a strategic weapon that forced the enemy to rethink coastal defenses, shipping routes, and even homeland security. He earned the Medal of Honor not for one dramatic moment, but for sustained courage, innovation, and trust in his men across multiple patrols. After the war, Fluckey remained humble. He spoke less about himself and more about his crew. He understood something many never do. Wars are not won by hardware alone. They are won by people willing to challenge assumptions, accept responsibility, and lead from the front when the rules no longer work. This was not a story of loud heroism. It was a story of silent dominance, of a commander who turned the ocean into a weapon and proved that even the deepest defenses can be broken by courage and imagination.